Hello everyone. You are studying with Professor Rashmi Hirlekar. Here we are studying chapter number 2, International Monetary System, which is the part of international banking and finance. As we have seen earlier, evolution of international monetary system has four main stages. First one is bimetallism, second classical gold standard, third interwar period, fourth Bretton Woods era. Outcome of this lecture. In this lecture, we will study about classical gold standard, three main rules of classical gold standard and reasons for collapse of gold standard system. Yesterday, we have studied about bimetallism. The next international monetary system came about after the collapse of bimetallism was classical gold standard. It operated since 1870 to 1914. 1914 was the year in which First World War took place, and this system of gold standard was in operation up to the First World War. So, here we will see what is gold standard system. Gold standard was the first universally implemented system for valuing currencies. As we all know that gold was considered as a medium of exchange because gold was durable, storable, portable and easily divisible. Under gold standard, gold jewelry could be converted into gold coins and used as a legal tender. It was promoted by Bank of England. Gold standard was an exchange rate in which gold coins were freely minted by the central bank of a country. The gold standard was adopted by UK in 1821, Germany in 1875, France in 1878, US in 1879 and Russia in 1897. The foundation of gold standard is that currency's value is supported by some weight in gold. Therefore, by tying paper money to an amount of gold, it gives the holder of paper money the right to exchange paper bills for actual gold. Ideally, this requires that paper money may, paper money be readily exchangeable for gold. If bank does not have gold, then paper money has no value. By theoretically, actual gold would flow between nations to ensure that all currencies would be supported by gold. Another reason for considering gold as a medium of exchange was that the value of gold remained consistent over short run due to limited availability of gold. At the turn of 20th century, many major trading nations use gold standard to adjust their monetary supply. Some countries adopted gold bullion standard in which gold coins were withdrawn from circulation and paper currency was used for transactions within a country. However, intra-country transactions were still made in gold. If there was any imbalance in market value of a currency in terms of another, the action of market participants restored equilibrium by using concept of gold points. Under pure gold standard, gold coins were traded freely and their inherent values were considered as their market values. Under pure gold standard system, all participating currencies were convertible based on its gold value. For example, if currency X was equal to 100 grains of gold and currency Y was equal to 50 grains of gold, then X is equal to Y. Under relative gold standard, gold was considered as a currency standard and each currency was convertible into gold as a at a specified rate. Thus, exchange rate between two currencies was determined by their relative convertible rates. Official central exchange rate between two currencies remain constant since the office prices of gold was constant. Due to imbalance in demand supply factors, the exchange rate in domestic foreign exchange market would be different. This created an arbitrage opportunity which domestic operator would use by transfer of gold by way of receiving and making payment. Exchange rate in domestic market would therefore be operated in small range on both sides of central rates. The width of this zone represented the cost of arbitrage. The extreme point of this zone were called upper and lower gold points and these points therefore represent stability of exchange rate. Each currency pair had unique set of gold points. As we have discussed earlier, the gold standard was based on three main basic rules. The first one was international payment can be made only in gold. It means that if two countries want to transact with each other, they have to make payment in gold only. The second one, two-way convertibility at fixed exchange rate. Two-way convertibility at fixed exchange rate, it means that central bank of the country has to make payment of gold against currency or has to make payment of currency against gold, but it was at fixed exchange rate. And third one, free import and export of gold was there. All these three rules create certain effect on the economy and gold standard collapse. It started collapsing after 1914. Now we will see why gold standard system collapsed. The reason for the collapse of gold standards is majorly the First World War. During the First World War, each country was destructed to a large amount and each country was in need of more and more money to pay for various items such as arms, grains, sustaining life of citizens, etc. So each country were needed more and more currency. However, gold reserves with each country were limited and as per the classical gold standard, the country have actually determined the amount of currency to be printed and circulated in the country. But the countries needed more currency, so countries such as US started printing currency notes which were excess of their gold reserve. As a result was two-way convertibility could not take place as currencies were more than gold. Second, comparative devaluation of the currency. As the country wanted to increase its export as compared to import, so at that point of time, during the First World War, countries started devaluing its currency so that its goods become more competitive in the world market. For becoming more competitive, it for more export, more trade, more surplus, and more gold. The result was one by one countries started disregarding its rule, and classical gold standard could not sustain, and classical gold standard collapsed. Here, the reason of collapse of gold standard is shown with diagram. As each country wants to become more competitive, more export, this results in more trade, results in more surplus and more gold. The result was one by one country started disregarding its rule and classical gold standard could not sustain. In next session, we will study about gold exchange standard. Thank you.